On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say, yeah, I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches. And it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't. But, yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We are just moments away from the 2025 NBA draft beginning inside the Barclays Center in Brooklyn as we welcome you back to the 2025 draft special live right here for the entirety of the opening round on the opening night around the association here on SportsGrid. A reminder, 2 sets, 2 crews, a full slate for you for all 30 picks that we will see here on night number 1. Ben Stevens, the coach, JY James Young, Kevin Walsh, and Tom Vecchio in New Jersey as well. Might be 2 different places, but we are all very focused on what we are going to see the remainder of the night over in BK. And of course, JY, we are just minutes away from the Dallas Mavericks. Improbable to be drafting first overall, especially after the dramatic season in the blockbuster deal of trading away Luka Doncic to be here in this spot, picking first overall. They won the draft lottery, but really you could call it another name. They won the Cooper Flag sweepstakes.
They won the sweepstakes, and they won the lottery twice. To me, for them to get this position after they fumbled that trade is mind-boggling to me as a coach, trading a person at the level of Luka Doncic. But now you have Cooper Flag, who I guess in my eyes growing up, he is a version of Scottie Pippen. In my eyes, in regards as a 3 that can do it all, score, rebound, defend, dime you up, lead a team, really mature beyond his years, something that you'll see about some freshmen that we're not going to say about others. But Cooper Flag, we've been waiting for this moment, and this moment, Ben, is just about here.
And he'll have grand expectations once he enters the NBA, a part of this Mavericks organization. He certainly exceeded those expectations collegiately in his 1 year at Durham for the Duke Blue Devils. But Kev, the one thing we're not really questioning around Cooper Flag is the fact that he is going to be the first overall pick. You have done a great job, you and Tom, already reminding people, updating them on the markets. There's not much really to share here about Cooper Flag. It's just a matter of when he hears his name called by Adam Silver.
Yeah, when Dallas won the lottery, they didn't pan to a group of players. I think they panned to Cooper Flag's parents at one point. We knew the deal the second Dallas owned this pick, and that meant, Tom, the sports books knew the deal. At no point do I think bettors found themselves thinking, oh, I can really get value. Now, incredibly, the minus 5,000s were beatable numbers, if you will, as he closes in the 100,000 range. Cooper Flagg going first has been a certainty, not just from when Dallas got the pick, but basically since he took the floor at Duke.
Right, since he took the floor at Duke, since the season ended, since he made his announcement saying, I am leaving, because there was some speculation that he had, some unfinished business at Duke. Would they run it back with Con Knippel? But he is set to go number 1. We know that. Again, Harper is set to go number 2 to the San Antonio Spurs. After that, that's where things get started. I think he fits in perfectly for the Mavericks, especially with Kyrie presumably out for the entire year. I think it'll be a high usage situation for him. And to me, there's no reason to not get him involved early and get him the shots. Yeah, they're going to have to work things out of where does the offense flow. Obviously, Clay's still there. They have someone to get the full touches to AD, but I think they're a play-in type of team. I'm not going to say that they're a playoff team, but I would say play-in, and I think he has a very high ceiling. Even in his rookie year, we're talking double-double he could average.
Dallas has aspirations certainly towards getting into the playoffs. It's actually, to some degree, why Dallas getting this pick and how they operate made people wonder, okay, he's going first. Are we sure he's going to end up a Dallas Maverick? The thing is, Ben, we know that it was not just the Mavs who upset the apple cart that is the draft lottery. Dallas wasn't supposed to pick 1, San Antonio not supposed to pick 2, and Philly not supposed to pick 3. I think that added some questions into the early portions of this draft process.
Kev, absolutely. A 1.8% chance for the Mavericks to win the NBA draft lottery, the 4th worst percentage prior to a lottery since the draft lottery began in 1985. Dallas moved up 10 spots. The largest ever move we have seen in a draft lottery. And it wasn't just Dallas, as Kev alluded to. The San Antonio Spurs, who were in this exact spot 2 years ago with another generational talent, JY, and Victor Wembanyama, they're drafting 2nd overall. They also had the Rookie of the Year a season ago as well with Steph Castle. The Philadelphia 76ers needed to stay within the top 6. How about top 3? That's where Philadelphia will select. Ultimately, at those 2 spots, what do you think happens? Number 2 with San Antonio and number 3 with the 76ers.
Obviously, Dylan Harper is going to go number 2. And it's interesting when you talk about the 3 teams, they're in different stages, right? Obviously, Dallas with the injury to Kyrie Irving, but with an older age of AD, re-signing Gafford, there's a team that's going to push and try to get to the playoffs. San Antonio, with taking Dylan Harper, they're just trying to ascend into the playoffs. And then there's Philadelphia at 3. With Embiid, we don't know how long his knees are going to hold up. They have to go for it. And that's why I think it wonders why, if they could unload Paul George's contract to give them more flexibility to make moves, that's why I keep thinking, when is Brooklyn going to make the call, Ben, and turn this draft upside down?
It's already been a summer of chaos, Kevin, a flurry of offseason moves and trades in the last 48 to 72 hours. What are the odds telling you beyond 1 and 2, where Cooper Flagg is minus 100,000 to go 1st overall, Harper minus 20,000 to go 2nd overall? What are the odds saying about 3, 4, and perhaps even 5?
The market right now has closed with VJ Edgecombe, a considerable favorite to be the 3rd overall selection. Charlotte at 4 then seemingly would be selecting Con Knippel, and at 5 would be Utah drafting Utah Jazz. A few problems, though. Ace Bailey also closed at a minus price to go inside the top 5. That makes 6 guys. Also, we have heard trade rumors involving Philly potentially being willing to go back and Utah being willing to go back. Those potential moves could really start to shape how your bets will be graded in this draft. If Ace Bailey goes 3rd to Brooklyn, as coach is suggesting, Tom, all of a sudden the Con Knippel 4th overall bettors have to worry about VJ Edgecombe being on the board.
This is what we were talking about, where one move, and Brooklyn's the team to make the move with all the first-round picks that they have.
New Orleans, we're hearing a little bit about too. Picked up the 23rd pick earlier this week from Indiana.
So that was one of the ones we were also talking about. If the Pelicans are that team to move up as well, do they want Ace Bailey, or I think that Queen could be a fit there as well. But again, as soon as that first domino of chaos falls, that impacts everything else. And it's not just like, it impacts 3, 4, 5. If you're holding a someone in 10, 11, 12, who would be a good example of 10, 11, 12?
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. Carter Bryant at that 10, 11 range. Like, listen, all of a sudden he may be pushed down to 14, 15 because there's just players leapfrogging him. Because, hey, Malawach is there at 8. We're going to take this guy at 9, whatever it might be. So the draft is going to shake out in a very chaotic manner. That's how I'm approaching this.
And just a point in terms of betting the draft is typically things are more expensive than maybe they should be. There's 6 guys at minus money to go inside the top 5. There's closer to 12 or 13 guys at around minus money to go in the top 10, including Carter Bryant, who you mentioned with a over-under draft position that was listed at 10.5. So there certainly will be upsets in the market tonight, Ben. It's just not going to be first overall.
Yeah, Kev, we got to find out what price is incorrect. Ace Bailey minus 250 to be a top 5 pick, and yet JY not favored to be any of those first 5 selections. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. We know who is going first overall. His name is Cooper Flagg. It is not a matter of if, it is only a matter of when. That NBA Commissioner Adam Silver walks across the stage in Brooklyn and announces Cooper Flagg. Might it be on the other side of the break here on SportsGrid's Draft Section.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
And of course, just as our luck would have it, live right here on SportsGrid's Draft Special, the very first pick of the 2025 NBA Draft is now officially in. Again, we were just awaiting confirmation for his coronation tonight in Brooklyn. The Dallas Mavericks, with the first overall selection, have taken Cooper Flagg out of Duke. JY, as we shared numerous times, Flagg was a minus 100,000 favorite to be the number 1 overall pick of the 2025 NBA draft. As Kev even said, when the Mavericks surprisingly won the draft lottery, the camera zoomed in on Cooper Flagg. Frankly, it's not even here. We've known since this guy was about 15 years old, hooping up in Maine, he was probably going to be that first overall pick, a generational talent, highly touted. First overall recruit in the 2024 class. He comes in with weight of expectation to the Duke Blue Devils. He surpasses even our highest expectations. Will he do the same now in the NBA with Dallas?
I believe he will. Like I said last break, I think he's Scottie Pippen. I look at his game and his ability to score inside out. I actually think he's probably be more skilled shooter than Scottie Pippen was. Scottie had to get that shot over the time he was in Chicago. But what a phenomenal talent. You put him in that front line with P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively at the center position, and then obviously Klay Thompson at the 2. You just wait for Kyrie Irving to get back. And this is a Dallas Mavericks team that, Kevin and I were all big on this team before the trade. We jumped off it after the trade. Now I'm jumping back in on the team. Now, what Cooper Flagg is going to be able to do is going to be spectacular. And I think the way he carries himself, remember, folks, one thing about Cooper Flagg, I don't know if people notice, he should have been in the 2026 class. He actually graduated early from high school so he can get himself into the NBA. So, Ben, what a talent. Dallas is salivating. They got their guy, and now it's can they make a playoff run next year?
The Wooden Award winner in college basketball in his lone year with the Duke Blue Devils. Also the National Freshman of the Year, ACC Player of the Year, ACC Rookie of the Year. Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio. The long list of accolades could go on for a while. Kev, there wasn't much of a question around the price of Cooper Flagg going first overall. I think now the question is, what's the number on Cooper Flagg to be that NBA Rookie of the Year this upcoming campaign?
Will it be minus money? I think the Dallas piece of it kind of goes both ways. He may be listed on the team with the best win total, maybe, of some of the high-end rookies, but also may not be projected the type of usage had the lottery been won by a Washington or Utah or Brooklyn. I will just say on Cooper Flagg, this is the definition of a can't-miss player. He is a guaranteed future top 10 player in this league at worst. You look at the pedigree of Cooper Flagg and just go back to Cade Cunningham, who had all that pedigree coming out of Montverde, just like Coop, and had a rocky start in Detroit, which featured finishing third in Rookie of the Year despite being the favorite, an injury in year 2, and on a historically bad 14-win team in year number 3, and by year 4 was finishing inside the top 5 of MVP ballots and an all-NBA player. Cooper Flagg comes into the league with even more pedigree than that. The Mavericks end up with a can't-miss player in Cooper Flagg, Tom.
Yeah, when it comes to his betting odds, I think we will see them at minus money. I think that's very, very clear, and I think the books will do it at a certain point just to mitigate risk, where they don't want it to be a liability. And now we could say that this rookie class is very, very talented, especially that top end. Where again, if we see Ace Bailey go to a spot where he can have a ton of volume, there's a chance that he may end the season with more points per game compared to Cooper Flagg, just on raw numbers, right? But Cooper Flagg may do more overall. So it's like, okay, then he will be in a spot to win the award. He's going to be playing on a better team, almost certainly, compared to where Ace Bailey will land. So I believe he will end up at minus money, or start off, I should say, at minus money to be Rookie of the Year.
Ben, it's back to you.
Yes, certainly it is, Kev, because the NBA draft in 2025 is off to a very fast start. With a focus on the Lone Star State, from Dallas, we go to San Antonio. The second overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft is now officially in, and the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. He is the highest ever selected player from Rutgers University, JY, just the 5th overall first-round selection from this Scarlet Knights basketball program. And for San Antonio, drafting early here on the nights of the NBA draft in recent memory have been pretty fun. First overall in 2023, that generational talent, Victor Wembanyama, wins NBA Rookie of the Year. Last summer, in the top 5, Steph Castle out of UConn wins NBA Rookie of the Year. Might we sense a trend here for this Spurs organization and Dylan Harper?
All about how they use him. But hey, Jersey is in the building. Ron Harper's son, completely different than his dad or his older brother in his style of play. Silky smooth guard, lefty, can kind of do a lot of things. Really good defensively. I mean, Steve Peichel can't teach offense, but he can at least teach defense. So this guy can play defense at a high level. The interesting thing, Ben, is going to be how do they use Dylan Harper? With Stephon Castle? With De'Aaron Fox? We haven't even talked about Devin Vassell. Do they go 2 to 3? Do they go 3-guard combo? What happens to Calvin Johnson? Still a lot of questions you have to have on San Antonio about how they incorporate Dylan Harper to this young core.
Kev, Tom, right back to you. I ask you a hypothetical question, perhaps. 2 teams from Texas, 2 teams hailing from the Western Conference. Mavs, Spurs. Who has the higher ceiling in 2025-26?
I love that question, sir. I right now would find myself siding with San Antonio, where at least the logjam is in the backcourt, which might be a little bit easier to figure out instead of the potential spacing issues that might be created by Anthony Davis refusing to play the 5, which would then put Flag down to the 3.
To the 3, because the combination of what they have with Lively, P.J. Washington, what are we going to
Gafford, and like all 7-footers, baby.
Just a massive lineup overall. But the Spurs, I think, with the ceiling that they have, if Wemby can take a massive leap,
just got to stay out there.
Just stay out there. The team has no ceiling.
Yeah, I also do quickly, I'll just say, Ben, wonder if De'Aaron Fox 100% will be on this team by the start of next season.
Ooh. Listen, it's been a summer of moves already. 2 teams that seem ready to win. How about the team drafting 3rd overall? Philadelphia 76ers. That's next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The first 2 selections of the 2025 NBA draft have come flying off the board, but no real surprises this early on. A minus 100,000 favorite to go first. That was Cooper Flagg to the Dallas Mavericks. A minus 20,000 favorite to go second. That was Dylan Harper to the San Antonio Spurs. But now James Young, selecting third overall the Philadelphia 76ers. Only if the 76ers finished in the top 6 of the draft lottery order would they retain that pick. In what was a rebuilding season in the city of brotherly love, Philly is now drafting third overall. But as you shared early on, you think that Philly might not be holding on to this third overall selection in the next few moments. How come?
Fits into what they want to do. And everybody knows that the contract of Paul George is the second worst contract in the NBA behind Bradley Beal. Well, what do you have? You have ability to move back at 3 and take that contract off the hands and drop down to 8 and still get a really good young prospect. Meanwhile, Brooklyn, we all know, wants Ace Bailey, so for them to go up to 3 is where you have to get him, because we all know he's not going to go below 6, because obviously Washington is waiting there to pluck him up. So to me, it's interesting that Philadelphia does take Edgecombe. I just think Daryl Morey will not do that, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, sadly, JY, you are wrong, because the Philadelphia 76ers remain at that number 3 overall spot, and the pick is now officially in. The 76ers select the freshman from Baylor, VJ Edgecombe, who in his lone year in college basketball, JY, in Waco, did a lot of great things for this Baylor side. A first-team All-Big 12 selection for Scott Drew and company. But one of the reasons people look at VJ Edgecombe, the talented athlete and scorer that he is, and think his game can translate right away to the NBA, is because of his work with the Bahamian national team last summer, trying to get the Bahamas to qualify for the 2024 Summer Olympic Games. VJ Edgecombe now heads to the Philadelphia 76ers. How does he fit in the puzzle in Philly?
That's going to be hard to see in regards to what they're going to do, because they already have 2 guards, and McCain coming back from injury, who had a great year, probably had a chance to be rookie, was going to be rookie of the year with the way Jared had started the year. And obviously Tyrese Maxey missed time as well. Then you also have Paul George. So are you looking at VJ as your 4th guard, as your 3rd guard? Are you moving Paul George? How are you doing so? I just have to see how it fits in regards to it. Now, regards to talent, yes, he's talented. Is he Ace Bailey talented? Not in my opinion. I think Ace Bailey is way more talented. Plus, I like the size of a 6'8" would have fit better with Philadelphia. But trader Daryl Morey didn't make a trade. Shocked that he didn't do it. But to me, VJ Edgecombe steps to a situation in Philadelphia, who's right now with Joel Embiid, which we don't know how long, Ben, his knees are going to hold up. They have to win, and they're going to win this year.
Absolutely so. VJ Edgecombe, a minus 850 favorite in those closing betting markets to be the 3rd overall pick. Kevin, Tom, that's exactly what happened. Let's talk another betting price. 11-1 on the 76ers. 5th best number to win the Eastern Conference Championship this upcoming campaign. A lot of uncertainty, Kev, in the Eastern Conference. Now with VJ Edgecombe among a talented roster, what's your outlook on the Sixers in 2025-26?
On one side is 12 or 13-1 for adding Desmond Bane. I think that first of all, is a number that is probably still not as short as Philly's was last season after bringing in Paul George. Philly runs the roster back. I understand the health concerns are there, but I think some people are now acting as if this is a bad basketball team. Joel Embiid played 19 games, half a season from Paul George, almost 30 missed games from Tyrese Maxey. From a talent perspective, Philly is still near the top of the East.
I know. I always want to, like, the hypothetical was like, what if there weren't injury concerns for the 76ers? Like, would we be booking them as the favorite? Because the tiers in the East right now...
I think they would have the second best odds if you turned injuries off.
If like, the tiers in the East are Cavs, Knicks, and then it's kind of like, we got these other groupings of Magic. The Magic
are in a tier above Philly by pricing.
Right, but it's wrong.
I agree with that.
So I think the talent, as Kevin's alluding to, the talent from the 76ers is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's just making the pieces work together and having some real plan for Embiid, like you're only playing every other game. It doesn't matter, only every other game. Keep him healthy, keep him out there.
Edgecombe, I think, by the way, a legitimate chance, Ben, to start for that team over Jared McCain due to the defensive upside.
The 76ers take VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor at 3rd overall. What the rest of the lottery has in store on SportsGrid's Draft Special up next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here. He'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We welcome you back to the SportsGrid Draft Special here for the entirety of the opening round, the opening night of the 2025 NBA Draft. As you can see, with the 4th overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets are now on the clock, outside of the top 3, JY. But as we saw from the odds perspective, it's been pretty status quo so far. Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, and VJ Edgecombe, all very strong favorites to go 1, 2, 3 in that order. It's the exacta or trifecta we have seen so far. Closing as the hefty odds-on favorite to be the 4th overall pick was Cooper Flagg's college teammate, one of his best friends from Duke. That would be Con Knipple. Is that what Charlotte does here with this 4th overall pick?
I would personally look at the fact that Mark Williams, and this is where I start reaching for guys a little bit, and that's why I think someone like Kamal Malawach makes sense, because you tried to trade Mark Williams. You know how healthy he is. You could put him into the pivot. You already have a shooter in Brandon Miller, but if you put Knipple there, you do have someone else that can space the floor, extremely smart, has a sneaky little floater game in his package. So if you run him off the line, he's not going to go all the way to the rack, but he can get to that little floater. So now you have LaMelo Ball coming off of some kind of action, and you legitimately have 3 pretty good shooters in Bridges, Miller, and Knipple. So it makes sense in regards to that. I just wonder with that big there, it's 7-2, the way he can play in a pick and roll game, I would rather go with a big there.
So, Kev, as we shared, a more than minus 400 price on Knipple right before the 2025 NBA Draft begun to be that 4th overall pick. He hit 84 threes during his lone year of college basketball in Durham, the 5th most ever for a Duke freshman. Does that shooting translate to the next level, and how might it fit in the Queen City?
Yeah, that shooting translates to any level, pal. When you pair it with a 91% percentage from free throw, you know that is pure as can be. I think it's remarkable to think about the rise for Con Knippel in this process. When we knew Cooper was going to go number 1, Knippel impressed early, and people went, wow, maybe another lottery pick. And here we are seeing Knippel's name called inside the top 5 of this draft. Con Knippel was the pick there. He is going to go to Charlotte, and he'll look to fit in next to most likely Tom LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, who profile is more on. All right, get it over to Ben.
All right, let's make it official then, Kev, as you just said right there, with the 4th overall pick of the 2025 NBA draft. The pick is in. The Charlotte Hornets select Con Knippel out of Duke. JY, one of the things that stood out to me about Con Knippel during his playing days in Durham, started and played in all 39 games for the Blue Devils, that matching a school record for a freshman there for this illustrious and prestigious program in the lore of college basketball. And if you remember in the ACC tournament against Georgia Tech, his postseason play began when Cooper Flagg suffered the scary injury to end out the opening half and did not play the remainder of the time in Charlotte, Con's new home in the NBA. Who stepped up? It was Con Knippel to earn ACC Tournament Player of that tournament, the MOP, if you will. How do you believe Con Knippel's game translates to the association?
He's a sniper, and he can shoot it. In an NBA, if you can knock down threes at a high clip and come off of screens, meaning just not be a standstill, catch a three-point shooter, I think his game translates extremely well to the next level. Now, it's all about how LaMelo Ball is going to be used and Brandon Miller is going to be used, because those are two guys that I think can create their own shot. Will LaMelo Ball be willing to sacrifice points and not want to get 23, 24, 25 points a game? Could he get himself in the 18-point-a-game range where he gets you about 9 or 10 assists? Because now what you have in Charlotte is you have a plethora of guys that can shoot and knock down shots. So now a guy like LaMelo, if you get up onto him, you drive it. Now is the kickout opportunity for a guy like Con Knippel. His game translates very well because he can shoot that ball.
84 made threes, as we shared, during 2024-25, the 5th most ever for the Duke Blue Devils by a freshman. Kev, a little bit rude, if I do say, of both the Hornets and Con Knippel himself for interrupting the praises that you are heaping on both the prospect and the franchise with this selection. How did you like what Charlotte did here with the philosophy behind that 4th overall pick?
The audacity to cross the stage mid-breakdown. Con Knippel is the best shooter of any player you'll see selected in the lottery. And I think one of the draws to Con Knippel, it's rare you see this be true with a 4th overall pick, Tom, but it's that he does not need the basketball every possession when they have two guys in Miller and LaMelo who project to be way more ball dominant.
Way more ball dominant, but he's that missing piece. He's the puzzle piece that I think the Hornets need now. The defense from him is going to be a question, especially moving laterally. Guys at this speed are going to be, I think, he's going to be a liability for them on defense. But
he's got good positional size, I'll tell you,
he
man.
does, but that's so he can guard multiple positions, and increasing the quickness, I think, is something that will come with time. But that will develop as the team develops overall. How he fits into the offense, as Coach was alluding to, I think LaMelo does need to take that step back. And take that step back in terms of just pure scoring, but still play the Tyrese Halliburton role. It's like he is the engine of the offense, and things will revolve around him, thus making Brandon Miller and Con Knippel better.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ask someone to be Tyrese. I understand what you're saying of distribute it a little bit more if you're LaMelo Ball. I think one of the key things for Charlotte with LaMelo and Brandon Miller is just staying available. And I think that's why Knippel going 4th overall does track. When Cooper Flagg went down in the ACC tournament, Con Knippel had to step up and won ACC tournament MVP. He showed more lead dog chops than I think a lot of people had anticipated. I will just say, so far in this draft, we are chalk through 4, Ben. We wait to see if that's the case at pick 5.
Minus 100,000 for Cooper Flagg to go first. Yeah, check. Minus 20,000 for Dylan Harper to go second. Check as well. VJ Edgecombe closed as a minus 850 favorite to go third. Cash that ticket, and now Con Knippel around a minus 420 price to go 4th. good as well. But JY, we were just talking a little bit from the coaching perspective. Your scouting report on Con Knippel, not as the prolific shooter, but on the defensive end of the floor. How much of a challenge will that be for his game in the NBA?
I don't think as big as what people are going to say. And Kevin and I talked about this like during the year. Duke was one of the best defensive teams, and I was amazed at their ability to defend at an extremely high level all year, and that included Knippel. But now if you put Con Knippel in your lineup, he's going to get, if you want to say Brandon Miller's a better defender, I could argue that I think Con Knippel probably is a better defender than Brandon Miller, in my opinion. But you put him on the third guard, all you have to do is play angles, play space, and then obviously go from there. I mean, to me, Con Knippel's a better defender than LaMelo Ball, who plays zero defense. So if we're going to talk about guys who don't play defense, start with the guy at the point of attack with LaMelo Ball. I think Con Knippel will be able to play both sides of the floor and play it really, really well.
19-63, that was the record for the Hornets this previous season. Third worst in the NBA. Of course, the updated NBA draft lottery since 2019. Those three teams that have the 14% chance to draft first overall did not. And I alluded to the worst record in the NBA, that being the Utah Jazz at 17-65. Kev, Tom, JY, our first surprise of the 2025 NBA draft, perhaps, because the pick is now in. At the 5th overall spot, the Utah Jazz select Ace Bailey out of Rutgers, giving the Scarlet Knights their second pick in the top 5. JY, we knew a number was wrong. Ace Bailey not favored to be any of the first 5 picks individually, but minus 250 to go in the top 5. He goes 5th overall to Utah. What's your immediate reaction?
Trade! Something's got to be going on because this guy basically said, I don't want any part of Utah. And if you want to talk about being a star, John Collins just exercised his option for next year. So what are they going to do? Something's up. Trade may be in the works.
Maybe so. Could we see a flurry? Could we see a move? We'll break it all down for you on the other side of the break. It's our first surprise in the 2025 NBA Draft. Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio give you their thoughts next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Perhaps our first surprise of night number one, round number one of the 2025 NBA Draft, as we welcome you back to SportsGrid's Draft Special. The team that had the worst record in the association this previous season, the Utah Jazz, drafting 5th overall. Take a guy we did not think they would bring to Salt Lake in Ace Bailey. Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio alongside. He is the coach, JY James Young. I am Ben Stevens. And Kevin, Tom, we talked about the numbers and the odds profile around Arias. That would be Ace Bailey's profile for the 2025 NBA Draft. Not favored to be any of those first 5 picks, and yet a minus 200, minus 250 favorite to be a top 5 selection. So I ask a rather point-blank question. Are you surprised Ace went 5th to Utah?
Not really. The odds were telling us he would. They just told us a few guys. The Jazz and Danny Ainge specifically, I know Austin Ainge is in the mix, saw the talent and said they couldn't pass it up. I not only agree, I say thank you. As a firm Ace Bailey believer, the backing of Danny Ainge has done tremendous things for my confidence in that sentiment. I think Ace Bailey landing in Utah puts him in line, Tom, to have the second best odds for Rookie of the Year, of course, behind Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, so this is interesting from multiple levels. I would say, at face value, this Ace Bailey, with the way things transpired in the pre-draft process, it didn't seem like a Danny Ainge type of player to me. That's just how I viewed it. The skill and the talent is there. That's very clear, right? So, hang on. But I think this may be one of the best spots because when it's said and done, they need to trade Lauri Markkanen and John Collins. Like, those are players that other teams will want, and this is... I mean, you want to take 30 shots a night. Like, I know he said he wanted to be a star in Utah, may not be the biggest market, but if you want to take 20 or 30 shots a night, they ship out Lauri Markkanen, send him to a contending team. I know a lot of contending teams will like Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah.
Send John Collins, 20 shots a night, let it rip.
But just the point I was going to make, you say it's not a guy you would think Danny Ainge would draft.
Right.
The fact that he did tells me that they saw a lot of the positives that I saw. And again, from the odds, Jeremiah Fears is a faller. He was a minus money favorite to be selected 5th overall. We have heard him connected to both Washington and New Orleans. Could potentially a Fears mini slide lead to another player, Ben, falling outside of the top 10?
It is very interesting, Kev, especially from that odds perspective. A couple of big guys like Maryland's Derek Queen and the other Duke freshman we expect to go early in the lottery. Come on, Malawatch, certainly watching Ace Bailey go 5th overall to Salt Lake in the Utah Jazz. JY, again, from the odds perspective, a slight surprise as Ace Bailey was not projected from the odds to go here at 5th overall to Utah, and yet a minus 200 or minus 250 favorite to be a top 5 pick. Also a slight surprise given his draft stock in the last few weeks about how Bailey has conducted the pre-draft process. Not performing great in interviews, canceling some pre-draft visits, not going to other places. But when it comes to Ace Bailey, the basketball player, and the talent on the hardwood, how do you expect him to perform now in the NBA?
Guy can make shots. Guy can create shots. Guy takes really bad shots, too. So if it involves a shot, it involves Ace Bailey. So to me, yes, and Tom makes a good point, and Kevin's right. You know what? Good for Danny Ainge. Ace Bailey came out and said, I don't want to go to Utah. Danny Ainge said, I do not care. You're coming to Utah. So good for Danny Ainge to take a guy that I had number 3 on my draft board. And now in Utah, who always seems to be rebuilding, right? I think Tom's right. John Collins is going to get moved. We'll see what happens with Lauri Markkanen. I think you can play Bailey and Markkanen together, just slide Markkanen to a 4. But we'll see what goes on. But it looks like, Ben, we have another pick in.
We do have another pick in, JY, because after the Utah Jazz at 5th overall, then comes the Washington Wizards. And with the 6th overall pick of the 2025 NBA Draft, that pick now officially in, and it's the SEC Freshman of the Year out of Texas. 6th overall to the nation's capital, it's Trey Johnson, a guy, JY, that when you see the numbers, 19.9 points per game, led all of the SEC, the gauntlet of the basketball conference that we saw in 2024-25 in scoring a season ago, just the 6th ever freshman in the history of the SEC to lead the conference in scoring as a freshman. So Trey Johnson goes 6th to the Wiz. What does he bring to the nation's capital?
Scoring mentality, the scoring punch. And I thought at this pick, I actually thought that Johnson was going to go 5, but then he went 6. Jeremiah Fears going 6. So I just kind of got those guys maybe one slot off because you figure with Washington, with the fact of now bringing in C.J. McCollum, right? Having Chris Middleton, those are guys are going to be free agents. So you wanted to get yourself someone in the backcourt to pair yourself with Alex Sarr. This is a young man that can go get a bucket and really comes from a scoring mentality. So it should be interesting. And you know what? Kind of playing with guys like a C.J. McCollum that's a scorer, maybe he's a good role model for him to watch this game after.
Shot 39% from beyond the arc in his first year and only year in Austin with the Longhorns. So, Kev, you talked about the odds perspective. Ace Bailey goes 5. Trey Johnson was kind of that odd man out, not an odds-on favorite or even just a favorite to be any of those first 5 or 6 selections. He ends up at 6, goes to D.C. with the Wizards. What do you make of what Washington has done?
Odds-wise, late last night I did a mock draft exercise entirely through the odds. Trey Johnson didn't find a home within the first 20 selections. Now, you knew that wasn't going to happen. But again, this is a bit of an upset here to see Trey land in Washington. I will just say, not the player I would have picked if I were in charge. Being able to make tough buckets is great, but sometimes it's not good, Tom, if all you can create are tough buckets.
Right. I'm just wondering where he fits in. Like, he'll be in the starting lineup. They'll have Marcus Smart coming off the bench.
I don't know about
Trey, McCollum, Middleton.
Oh, Carrington, baby.
Yeah, I know.
Koulibaly.
Koulibaly and Sarr.
This guy's like the 9th, 10th man
I don't know.
on that
Trey
team.
Johnson, it's either it could be boom or bust in his rookie year, but after those contracts free up, following next season, he could be in line for a big role.
Be interesting.
Yes, it certainly will. Trey Johnson, 6th overall to the Washington Wizards. We'll tell you what we've seen so far in the first 6 picks of the NBA draft next on SportsGrid.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Rounding out the opening hour of our 2025 SportsGrid Draft Special on the opening night in round number 1 of the 2025 NBA Draft. Ben Stevens and the coach, Jay White, James Young. The picks have been flying off the board. Currently at 7th overall, the New Orleans Pelicans are on the clock. But let's get you caught up in case you missed anything as we look at the first 4 picks so far in the 2025 NBA Draft order. None of them a surprise. Cooper Flagg goes first overall to the Dallas Mavericks, a minus 100,000 favorite. That price cashes. Second overall, there he is, Dylan Harper to the San Antonio Spurs out of Rutgers. Third overall, VJ Edgecombe from Baylor goes third to the Philadelphia 76ers. And JY rounding out the Tom 4, 2 Dukies. Con Knippel, Cooper Flagg's teammate, goes 4th overall to the Charlotte Hornets. Again, as we said, all 4 of these guys on these screens, at least a minus 400 favorite or better. And these 2 guys were rather hefty to be in these spots. What is your main takeaway from the first 4 picks we have seen so far on night number 1?
If someone would have behaved themselves, we would have had 2 Duke guys or 2 Rutgers guys in the top 4 pick. And it still goes back to what I said to Ben earlier. One team, almost made it to the national championship game. The other team didn't make the NCAA tournament. Steve Peichel, we got questions for you on SportsGrid. Call Coach if you want to discuss. But when you talk about talent, phenomenal talent, and each of these guys are going to help their teams in different ways. Cooper Flagg, that Scottie Pippen clone. I heard someone say Scottie Pippen would meet Larry Bird. Oh my goodness, if he's those 2 together, we have a beyond a generational player. We have a top 10 player of all time, if that's what he turns out to be. Obviously, Dylan Harper, see how he's used in San Antonio. He can be a lead guard. You play him as a 2 guard. Do they play 3 guards together? VJ Edgecombe, let's see what happens. Does McCain get moved? Do they put him on the bench? What happens with Paul George? Dynamic. And then there's Con Knippel with LaMelo Ball, like we've talked about. Will LaMelo be willing to change his role? That probably got to go to LeVar before you go to LaMelo to talk about that. But will he change his role and sacrifice points to get guys like Con Knippel shots, Brandon Miller shots, Miles Bridges shots, Mark Williams, so there's your lob threat. Charlotte, at some point, you look at that young talent and you got to say, they got to start making a move at some point.
19-63, the Hornets a season ago. 3rd worst record around the association. So, Kev, from the odds perspective, none of these 4 guys up on these boards all that surprising where they went or to which team. Starting at 5, though, was 8 Bailey to Utah. And at 6, Trey Johnson to the Washington Wizards. That's where we started to see a few upsets early on night number 1. What can we expect the remainder of the lottery?
I think we can expect potentially some more upsets, Ben. I know that Jeremiah Fears had a listed over-under at 5.5, so that's one of the first draft positions that can now be graded, and it grades out towards the over. Certainly one of the guys impacted by Ace Bailey finding a home, Ben, inside that top 5.
The pick is in as well for the New Orleans Pelicans at 7th overall. Made official now. The guy that Kevin was just talking about, influenced by Ace Bailey, with the 7th overall pick in the 2025 NBA Draft. The Pelicans select Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma. So, JY, as Kev was alluding to, over his draft position prop of 5.5, closing in the betting market as a minus 195 favorite to be the 5th overall pick. He has to wait, but just ever so slightly goes 7th to the Big Easy. What did the Pels just get with the freshman from Oklahoma?
Well, I think they got a silky smooth point guard that can run your offense, lead your offense, but also can score. With the addition of Jordan Poole and the trade for CJ McCollum, this selection makes perfect sense. You slide him into the point guard spot. Jordan Poole can be your scorer, can still score the ball, Jeremiah, but doesn't have to be this 18, 19, 20-point a game scorer like he was in Oklahoma. So good pickup there, good backcourt. Jordan Poole in a long-term contract should be there for a while. Good pickup here for New Orleans Pelicans.
Jeremiah Fears, a bit of everything last year in Norman for Porter Moser in his lone year playing for the Sooners. Averaged 17 points per game, 4 dimes, 4 boards, a steal 0.6 per game as well. The only D1 freshman in the entirety of the country a season ago to average 17, 4, 4, and at least a steal and a half per game. Also averaged nearly 23 points per game in the final 9 games now of his collegiate basketball career at Oklahoma. So the slide on Jeremiah Fears, very, very brief. He goes 7th overall to the New Orleans Pelicans, despite being a minus money favorite to be a top 5 pick. As we start our second full hour of SportsGrid's draft special, the hometown team, the Brooklyn Nets, with the first of their slated 5 picks on night number 1. Now on the clock at 8th overall.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy a top 7. I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We welcome you back to our second full hour tonight on night number 1 of the 2025 NBA Draft. It's SportsGrid's draft special. 2 sets, 2 crews, full coverage all night long for all 30 picks that we are going to see in the 2025 NBA Draft. He is the coach, JY James Young. I am Ben Stevens. Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio here as well. The hometown team, JY, now on the clock with the 8th overall pick. The Brooklyn Nets, who, of course, the draft tonight inside their home arena, the Barclays Center, are slated to pick 5 times on night number 1. Here at 8th overall on the clock, 19th overall, 22nd overall in that 3-team deal that sent Kristaps Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks, 26th, and then back-to-back at 27th as well. It's safe to say that BK has a lot of draft capital tonight.
Draft needs. They need everything. We'll see what they do with Cam Johnson and Nick Claxton. Those are 2 guys to be on the lookout for who could be moved. But, Jordy Fernandez, who I think is going to be a really good coach in this league, really good at skill developing, they got to start to shed some of these older contracts and give Jordy what he needs to work with. So Brooklyn, with this pick, they could kind of go best available. If they're looking to trade Nick Claxton, do you go with I'll throw it back to Ben because it looks like the pick is in.
The pick is in. The Brooklyn Nets, in front of their home crowd, have officially sent in that selection to Commissioner Adam Silver. At 8th overall, the Brooklyn Nets take out of BYU the Russian guard Yegor Dimin. Dimin goes 8th overall to the Brooklyn Nets. And JY, when you look at what he did in his lone year in Provo, playing for BYU, a facilitator, an apt shooter at times, Are you surprised the Nets reached up to grab Yegor Dimon in this spot?
They wanted to, and I mean, I'm going to do something I haven't done yet. I'm going to throw it to Kevin Walsh because Kevin Walsh was not a big fan of this kid, thought he should have been playing at BYU. Kevin, thoughts on this move with Igor going to Brooklyn?
Coach, I owe you a drink. What an atrocious pick. Congratulations, Brooklyn. At least you didn't trade up for the kid. 2 games against Houston this year. Maybe that's a comp for an NBA defense. A nice and shiny 3 of 15 from the field, 9 points and 8 turnovers for Demon in those games against the Cougs. He shot a putrid 27% from 3 this year. Don't worry, it was only down to 23% in Big 12 play. His offensive rating, bad. His defensive rating, worse. This is a kid with an over-under draft position of 13.5. You reached easily, not close, the worst pick we have seen in this draft. And the nice part of it is I don't see anyone touching a pick this bad, even though we're only 8 picks in. F. Brooklyn Nets. Oh, and by the way, they get another crack at it 4 more times. Yikes.
So, a lot of raw talent. Great passer.
Disagree. He stinks.
He's a great passer. He's got good anticipation, good feel for the game. Extremely unrefined skill set outside of that.
Can't shoot.
No,
can't guard.
So the size is there, continue to grow.
Can't beat anyone off the dribble.
He's not going to play that role. I think they want to play him in some type of just pure facilitator role between the shooting from Cam Thomas and the lob game to Nick Claxton, but I'm not sure how long Nick Claxton is going to be on the Nets.
Maybe their thought was, since all Cam Thomas wants to do is shoot,
we just need someone to pass him the ball.
All Igor Demon can do nicely is pass. That's a good backcourt to
just
have.
Pass.
This is a tank pick.
So
they're trying to position for Dybonsa, who should be playing with Demon next season at BYU, Ben.
Definitely not the pick to make.
Listen, could be that Cougs pipeline making its way to Brooklyn, New York. They call Brooklyn the Provo of New York City, so why not? I'm not going to tell anybody how to do their jobs here at the SportsGrid Network, but the clip of Kevin Walsh yelling, "Disagree, he stinks," needs to be circulated and produced rather quickly. Kev, I don't really want to admit this to you, but I did maybe just think that Yegor Dimon would be a lottery pick and include that in a certain best bet earlier today on the SportsGrid Network. So you got it there, JY, from Kev. It's confounding. And it's not just Kevin. The odds makers did not expect Yegor Dimon to be in this spot at 8th overall. So with the first of 5 picks tonight, why does Sean Marks make this move?
Because he probably wanted him and didn't think that he wanted to move picks to get into those mid-teens to get him. I had him in about 14, 15, so he was right around his draft range. Listen, you come off the ball screens, there's many different coverages. Why don't you go under? That is what we call under, which means you go under the screen as a defender and under the roller. Why? Because you can't shoot. So it'll be interesting to see if Jordi Fernandez, and this is a guy, from Spain, so we'll see if this is something where the Nets kind of go with international players, guys that maybe they think they can get a little read on and improve their play. But when you look at the stats and you look at the play, you kind of like, I don't see it. And I think Kevin's right. Now, I'm not going to go on and disagree. I disagree. I mean, I disagree a little bit. But to me, I think it's an interesting reach for Brooklyn. But to me, Brooklyn is going to be judged tonight on the totality of all their picks. They still have 4 more to go. Let's see what Brooklyn does, and then we can evaluate. But right now, after 1 pick, Kevin's blowing in my ear. It's a hard, yes, Kevin, I get it. It's a hard F right now.
19, 22, 26, and 27. The 4 first-round picks that remain for the Brooklyn Nets. Only 20 NBA clubs are even in action drafting on the opening night of the 2025 NBA draft. So, Kev, this one definitely a surprise that Yegor Dimon is drafted 8th overall by the hometown team in Brooklyn, which means there's a couple of bigs still out there on the board. A guy that Tom highlighted earlier in Maryland's Derek Queen, and Kaman Maluach, the 3rd freshman out of Duke. We expected to hear his name called early in tonight's lottery.
Yeah, Kaman Malawach is someone that I, again, am record-breaking high on, but I understood could potentially be on the board here at 9. I think one of the tricky things now for Kaman Malawach is the Raptors have also been heavily linked to Noah Essenge, who comes over from the German league, a French player who actually passed on playing in the final, and I would think that is because he kind of has an idea of how long he will be waiting to hear his name called. It is an interesting spot where if this is Malawach, Essenge could fall out of the top 10. If it's Noah, I would imagine Malawach is a run-to-the-podium pick for the Phoenix Suns at 10.
It has to be, because they've been talking about, they were linked to potentially Rudy Gobert in the trade market about getting him in there. So they do, and they've been talking about getting a center for a while. So I think Malawach going to the Suns would make sense if he's available there. So...
Yeah, I mean, I think, let me put it to you like this. The Suns get Malawach, I'm about to reevaluate how I graded the Kevin Durant trade, quite frankly. That's how high I am on the player. But to your point, and just quickly, the Derek Queen to 7 move, I don't know who's responsible for that, Ben. Again, I think we all want to say positive things about the player, but swing and a miss. Derek Queen, now I would say live odds certainly would not suggest he's going to end up picked here at 9.
No, not at 9. And that's why the draft market is crazy and it's constantly changing.
Absolutely.
Derek Queen, Kev, was that short favorite to go 7th overall. Obviously not any longer. Jeremiah Fears goes to New Orleans. And it was Noah Essenge, the international, for the international franchise that closed as a short favorite to be that 9th overall pick to Toronto. Will that happen? Find out next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
SportsGrid's draft special rolls on all night for the entirety of round number 1 at the 2025 NBA Draft. 9th overall, the Toronto Raptors on the clock, and we expected the Canadian franchise of the National Basketball Association to maybe go international. Noah Essengay, the French national, closed as the favorite to be that 9th overall pick. Well, guess what? Think again. A surprise from the odds perspective. The pick is in. 9th overall. The Toronto Raptors take the freshman from South Carolina, Colin Murray Boyles, a guy, JY, that had a very successful first and only year in Columbia, South Carolina. You see the numbers there, average better than 16 points per game and 8 boards. The first Gamecock to put up those numbers since 1983-84, nearly 4 decades ago. But we didn't think he was going to go up to the 6 to Toronto. So what do the Raptors get with Colin Murray Boyles?
A burly tweener, a bull in a china shop, a bowling ball, whatever you can. I mean, people want to say maybe a Draymond Green type. I want to go old school because, I'm a little bit older than everyone else on this set tonight, or the other set as well. How about Anthony Mason? Guy that was burly. Okay, well, I don't know about Tom Vecchio. I mean, Tom Vecchio, you may not know who he is, but we'll get to that in a second. But obviously, the way that he can back you down, post you up, strong defender, tough, brings a little bit of toughness. So is this a little bit of protection for someone like a Scotty Barnes, right? But now it's Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and is there another move coming again for a team like Toronto? I mean, listen, Jakob Poeltl, they could trade him for a bag of basketballs for all I care. I don't want to tell you how many times he ruined my plays with double-doubles that he did not get. But to me, this guy is a bowling ball type of player, should fit in well, a protector, a bruiser, and a good pick. I had him probably about 12 on my draft board. So to me, a little reach, but not a big one like Igor Devin.
So, Kev, we have seen a couple of surprises following the top 4. That went pretty chalk from the odds perspective. What was the odds profile on the SEC all-freshman selection from South Carolina?
We saw a draft position for Murray Boyles of 12.5, a dropping number from around that 13.5 range. But going 9th was really not expected. Again, Noah Essengay and Kaman Malawach, Tom, were both far more supposed to be, and both of them were on the board, but were supposed to be the options Toronto was picking between.
And it really comes down to what they want in terms of the team dynamic. Just the pure upside of Malawach, you would think regardless of, you got to take a shot on a player like that. And I think that was the pick he should have been at 9, considering how the first 8 picks, I should say, transpired. But man, I think it's a good pick to get. But I just don't know why Malawach was passed on at a certain point. And I would say the Phoenix Suns should be taking him here.
Well, the Phoenix Suns are doing some other things, BWS. I don't know if you are you blocked? Can you bring that up? I never know with you, pal. What's your relationship with
only
Shams?
That former guy who doesn't have the want or will anymore, so now he's in a front office of an A-10 basketball program. I have always rode with my guy, Shams Charania, formerly of the FanDuel TV network, now, of course, working for ESPN. And Kev, as to that breaking news that Shams Charania just shared out, the Charlotte Hornets are trading center Mark Williams, who, after the Luka Doncic deal earlier in the season, was maybe going to go to the LA Lakers, but a bad physical said otherwise. Mark Williams is being traded by the Hornets, JY, to the Phoenix Suns for the Suns' second selection tonight in the opening round, that number 29 overall pick and a 2029 first rounder going back to Charlotte. So again, trade details. The Hornets are sending Mark Williams, the big man, to the Suns, who desperately needed some post presence. In return, Phoenix sending back tonight's 29th overall pick and a 2029 first rounder. Big breaking news. What are your immediate reactions to this trade?
Well, Kamal Malawach is not going 10. I think we can put that one to bed right now, Ben. So now it gets down to where do you go, right?
All right, now we're getting a couple of crazy upsets here because the Phoenix Suns just traded and acquired a center in Mark Williams for a first-round pick tonight at number 29 overall. and the Phoenix Suns, who were actually not the team drafting here. Houston was making the call, but then calling it into the league office for Phoenix because of the Kevin Durant deal earlier over the weekend. The Suns are going to end up, JY, with the pick now officially in at 10th overall with the Duke big man, Kamon Maliwatch. After the Kevin Durant deal, where Phoenix acquired Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, and tonight's 10th overall pick, the Suns were pretty loaded at the shooting guard spot. Now, after moments of trading before for Mark Williams and drafting Kamon Maliwatch, they seem pretty loaded in the front court as well. You're trying to figure it out. Does it make any sense?
No, absolutely not. I have no idea what Phoenix just did. I was literally saying you just got Mark Williams, so you don't want Kamon Maliwatch, and you went and got Kamon Maliwatch. So is there another trade going? I would have thought that you could play Derek Queen at the 4, slide him next to Ryan Dunn. You could have went Ryan Dunn, Derek Queen, and then obviously Mark Williams, 3, 4, 5. And I would have been like, that's a decent front court. I could have rocked with that. So I don't know what Phoenix is doing. You wonder, guys, and I'll throw it back to you, Ben, did they make this trade, make this selection, getting Mark Williams and then selecting Maliwatch? Because maybe they're moving Maliwatch somewhere else that wanted to come up and get him.
So quickly, Kevin, Tom, we're scratching our heads here. What do you guys think about what the Suns just pulled off in the last 3 minutes?
Yeah, I got to tell you, if I didn't think Kamon Maliwatch was worthy of the second pick in this draft, I'd probably be slandering them. The thing is, I was going to slander them because why would you trade for Mark Williams when you have Nick Richards and you can just draft Maliwatch? Instead, they drafted Maliwatch. So now, apparently, new strategy, all 2 guards and centers, the Phoenix Suns plan.
What's the Danny DeVito Schwarzenegger movie? The Twins. They're just going big and little. They got nowhere in between. They're just going all guards and bigs. I love it.
Devin Booker, Danny DeVito, and come on, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Are you not entertained, BSS?
Everybody's favorite flick. Who doesn't remember that classic? More on SportsGrid Draft Special.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy a top 7. I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid's draft special for the entirety of the opening round and the opening night of the 2025 NBA draft. He is the coach, J.Y. James Young. I am Ben Stevens. And, of course, during the commercial break, Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio streaming their favorite movie, Twins, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, California's former governor, and Danny DeVito, based on what the Phoenix Suns have done in the last 5 minutes or so. Again, a recap if you have not been with us here literally just in the last 5 minutes. The Suns traded with the Charlotte Hornets to acquire big man Mark Williams. Phoenix sending pick number 29 tonight, the second to last in this opening round, back to Charlotte in a 2029 first rounder. Cool. The Suns got their big man. All good. And then moments later, they drafted, Maluach, the center out of Duke, with that 10th overall selection. JY, quickly, before we get to what Portland has done here with the 11th overall selection, we've had a couple of minutes to digest this decision by Matt Ishbia, his new GM, Brian Gregory there in the Valley. Is it making any more sense?
I feel like I have acid reflux. I'm going to throw up what I'm trying to digest because it makes no sense. I mean, I literally was like, oh, yeah, okay, Mark Williams, you got your center. And then you go draft another center. And then you have Nick Richards. Like, so I don't know what Phoenix is doing, but this is the state of this team. This guy, Matt Ishbia, kind of is like the younger version of James Dolan. He just does dumb stuff all the time and just doubles down and does more and more and more. So I don't know what they're doing. I can't figure it out. Listen, this draft, this is Ace Bailey's fault. Once Ace Bailey did this at 5 and he went to Utah, everything has been completely off the rails since then.
It has got a little bit wacky, and now we have more news to bring you. 11th overall, the Portland Trailblazers on the clock, and the pick now officially in. With the 11th overall selection, the Blazers draft Cedric Coward out of Washington State, and then are sending that pick to the Grind City. Cedric Coward will now play for the Memphis Grizzlies. Kevin Tom, Cedric Coward, a guy that many had rising up draft boards in the last few weeks throughout this draft process. Only played a few games last year in Pullman. Really, he's the pride of Eastern Washington. Stand up, EWU. So, Kev, from the odds perspective and the decision with Coward being dealt from the Blazers to the Grizzlies, what do you make of the move?
Yeah, Cedric Coward, I personally found to be a really tough evaluation because of the lack of sample size. I will say the Memphis Grizzlies being the team to trade up for him makes me think, okay, this is a player to be excited about, Tom. Odds-wise, I think maybe occasionally we saw would he, won't he lottery selections. And what's funny is if potentially Memphis was his biggest fan, that would have meant he was going to go 16. The trade up, though, Tom, puts him at 11. It does mean, though, we have now got some straight-up overs cashing officially on Kasparis Yakachonis of Illinois, Derek Queen of Maryland, and Carter Bryant of Arizona.
Yeah, things are changing rapidly. When it comes to Coward, I mean, just the 1 year at the D1 level, obviously, but shot 40% from deep.
Yep.
And they did just trade Desmond Bane. So do they need the three-point shooting? Is that, I'm just saying from a team perspective, is that the rather, hey, we traded a guy, he was making a ton of money, we bring someone in that can shoot, that's the role he's going to fill. Now, him being a good size out on the wing, I think is an interesting piece to that Memphis puzzle, but you're bringing another shooter that's at least proven somewhat at D1 level. How the rest of the draft shakes out from here, I think, is going to be a lot of chaos.
Yeah, it's a player who clearly had talent, but played so little, Ben, of the season for Washington State. And it was against, you know how the early portion of a CBB season is. You're playing teams that you're laying 20, 30 points to. But, man, he looked really, really good in those games, Ben.
Yeah, he certainly did, Kev. Again, not long for the 2024-25 season for those Cougs. He only played in 6 games, JY, in his lone year at Wazoo. Ironically, his 6th and final against his former team in Eastern Washington, and he dropped 22 on EWU in his final game with the Cougars. So let's get you caught up on what this deal is. The Blazers picking Cedric Coward, sending him to Memphis. In return, the Grizzlies will send back the 16th overall pick, which is where Memphis was originally slated to draft in just a little bit. And on top of that, a 2028 first rounder via the Orlando Magic and 2 second-round picks to Portland for Cedric Coward. A lot of investment out of the Memphis Grizzlies here in drafting Coward and making sure he finds his new home in the Grind City. We're trying to get our feet under us here in a draft that, after pick number 4, has been a tizzy. We'll continue to do it up next on SportsGrid.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here. He'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid's Draft Special, as we are now getting to the later portion of the NBA Draft Lottery. Of course, the first 14 picks of our 30 tonight in night number 1, round number 1 from the 2025 NBA Draft. And at the 12th overall pick, as we hit the break, the Chicago Bulls were now on the clock, and now that pick is officially in. The Bulls select from France, who plays his pro ball in Germany, Noah Essengay, with the 12th overall selection tonight in the 2025 NBA Draft. JY, we have talked about the draft odds profile around Essengay. Apparently, the Raptors were infatuated with him in the pre-draft process, but they went other areas. Colin Murray-Boyles was their pick at 9th overall. From the prospect that we haven't seen play collegiately, in fact, plays professionally in Germany, what is he now going to bring to the NBA?
Year. Give him another year that he could develop. When you look at Noah, about 6'9", 194 pounds, got to put on some weight, which you have to do a lot of times with Europeans. But position versatility, long, bouncy, athletic, has a long wingspan. So can he translate with his young team, with the Bulls, with Giddey, with Bazelis? Maybe that Bazelis, Essengay, front court could be something you can watch for in the future. But to me, this is more of a guy that I think that is going to wait and try and develop. Wouldn't be shocked if they let him stay overseas for another year.
Absolutely so. So 12th overall, the Chicago Bulls do select Noah Essengay. The Atlanta Hawks are trading the number 13 pick in the NBA Draft to the New Orleans Pelicans for the number 23 pick in an unprotected 2026 first-round selection. That is the report from ESPN's Shams Charania. And as the pick in, or are you just guessing that's who? All right, so the Pelicans with their second pick of the night. They were one of 5 teams in total, including the Nets, who had 5 total picks to have multiple first-round selections. The Pels move up from 23, swapping with the Hawks for that 13th overall pick. You think it is Maryland's Derek Queen here in this spot for the Pels? How come?
You look at their team already set up right now with the backcourt, with the draft pick, and then obviously having Jordan Poole. Then the frontcourt, you have Trey Murphy III, a player that I love, and Zion Williamson. The pivot is where the spot is you're looking at. Derek Queen is 6'10". Can he be a smaller 5? Yes, because he's about 250 pounds. And he has the ability to stretch the floor out. Now you can roll Zion inside into the post and give him more driving lane. So to me, because of Derek Queen's shooting ability, Ben, I think this is actually a good pickup for them to do that. Maybe they saw him slide, and now they tried to jump up and get him.
So Kev, Tom, Noah Esenge goes 12th overall to the Windy City for the Chicago Bulls. And now the Atlanta Hawks swap that 13th overall pick with the Pelicans, who move up from number 23. What do you think New Orleans is looking to do here at the end of the lottery?
Well, I don't want to cheat at all. I would just say we know New Orleans was heavily linked to Derek Queen via the odds at 7th overall. So maybe, Ben, there was at least some logic and reasoning to how the market was starting to back a Queen-Pelican connection, I think possibly, Ben.
Absolutely so. I do not know as of this moment, Kev, if that pick is officially in, but I believe the way that you are talking there, that maybe Derek Queen is on his way to the Big Easy. Do you have eyes on anything here, JY? Kev, you know what? I'm just going to make the executive decision. I'll throw it back to you. You and Tom continue this conversation around what the Pelicans are trying to do here at number 13 overall.
I'll say this, Tom. I think Atlanta trading back I think it shows how confident they are in the Kristaps deal they made yesterday, where otherwise I think the Hawks potentially drafting Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown, for example, could have been what we saw. I think that is a team in the Atlanta Hawks who really believes their starting 5 is set. Trey, Dyson Daniels, Reese Shea, Jalen Johnson, and Kristaps Porzingis. And there are some pieces on the bench that they think they like Onyeka Okongwu as well.
Yeah, and it really comes down to, does Porzingis have, because obviously, does he want to play the 5? Like, the hesitancy to play the 5 at times, which has to be noted. So it appears that Queen is going to the Pelicans. That's why pre-show I was very confident that Queen was going to go top 10 to number 7, where he was the favorite to be selected by the Pelicans at 7. I think he's a great fit for the Pelicans. That's why I liked him there initially. And he's obviously, so that bet didn't come through, but I like what they're doing. Again, I think the Hawks, that is an interesting option. With the Porzingis move, is there something else coming down? It's like, hey, the East, they can make a better than play-in type of run this season. Because that's where they've been stuck. They've been stuck at the 8, 9, 10 for some years. I think they can make that jump into the 6, 7 seed.
And I would say for Atlanta, there are some who wonder, will this team look to continue to be aggressive in the market?
Yes.
And if you were going to try and trade the 13th pick this year, right, you're sped up and trying to get a deal done.
True.
Now, bringing in another first rounder, which is either going to be a New Orleans or Buck pick in next year, that could very well be a sought-after selection in this offseason. I think Atlanta, with this move, might also be telling us, Tom, they want to make another swing for a win-now player this summer.
Yeah, and really, I mean, we have to dig into the contracts to see who's available. And then, I don't want to say that this is just a rest stop for Porzingis. But if you can make the money work, obviously there are big-name players that they could go and get and or position themselves for next free agency if they are able to move Porzingis at some point during the season.
Yeah, BSS, again, I think Atlanta trusting their group. New Orleans looking to start a youth movement.
Absolutely so, Kev. As you guys were just alluding to, the Hawks now will pick 23rd tonight. And at 13th overall, the Pelicans trading up. The pick now officially in. It is the Big Ten Freshman of the Year from College Park, Maryland. The Baltimore native, Derek Queen, will now play his professional basketball for the Pelicans in the Big easy. JY, it's fair to say that many people here in either of our two sets tonight on SportsGrid's draft special very high on the talent that Queen possesses and how it translates to the next level in the association. As a reminder for people, how good is Derek Queen expected to be now in the NBA?
Look at a comparison, maybe skill-wise, I'm going to say like a Domantas Sabonis. If you think about Domantas isn't a huge center. He's only about 6'10", but he has the ability to play inside out, rugged rebounder, very adept passer. So I think this makes sense for them. What you do now is when you have someone like Derek Queen you can bring out to the three-point line, that opens up driving lanes for Zion. Also allows you to post up Zion, which I think you will do when you have that offense that you can run 4-on-1 with Zion inside, Queen outside, with Trey Murphy the third, and obviously the other first-round draft pick, and Jordan Poole. So it makes sense. As regards to Atlanta guys, really quick, yes, it's Capella, it's a Okongwu. Someone else is getting moved. So they have some bigs that they can turn on and move. So look at guys like Okongwu, Capella. You can talk about Mitchell Robinson. If he gets extended with the Knicks, there's going to be a big man market that's going to move, whether it's tonight or right before free agency.
The Pelicans front office very active already this week, of course, trading C.J. McCollum to the nation's capital. In return, they get back Jordan Poole. And on this night, 2 lottery selections in round number 1. 7th overall, Jeremiah Fears, who slipped ever so slightly, and then Derek Queen, who was favored entering the draft to go 7th overall. The Pels trade back up into the later portion of the lottery to take Queen at 13th overall. So we have one more pick remaining in the NBA draft lottery and still 16 more to come after that here on night number 1, round number 1 of the 2025 NBA draft. And would you look at who it is? It's the San Antonio Spurs. 5 NBA franchises tonight with multiple picks in the opening round. The Pelicans and now San Antonio, the only 2 with multiple picks in the lottery. Of course, 2nd overall, San Antonio selecting Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. What does this young, exciting, and talented Spurs team look to do with the final pick of the lottery, the number 14 spot on the board? We'll tell you up next here on SportsGrid's Draft Special.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We welcome you back to SportsGrid's Draft Special, live right here for the entirety of the opening round of the 2025 NBA Draft. And this opening round will continue until pick number 30. But JY, right now, we are at pick number 14, obviously always significant in the NBA Draft. It is the end of that draft lottery where the San Antonio Spurs find themselves yet again for a second time tonight. The Brooklyn Nets have 5 picks. They've already used one at 8th overall on Yegor Dimon out of BYU. They still have 4 more remaining, 19, 22, 26, 27. 5 other teams with multiple picks here on night number 1 at least entering. And before the night, San Antonio was the only one to have multiple lottery picks. New Orleans trading back in at 13 and selecting Derek Queen changed things around. And the pick is now officially in to end out the 2025 draft lottery at 14th overall. The Spurs' second selection of the night is Arizona's Carter Bryant. JY, a similar theme here for this San Antonio side. A ton of young and promising talent, and Bryant will join this 2025 draft class alongside the number 2 overall selection, Dylan Harper. What do you make of the move? Do you like the pick for the Spurs here at 14th overall?
I'm just happy it wasn't a guard, because myself and probably K-Dub would have lost our ever-loving mind. But Carter Bryant, athletic, bouncy, shot blocker, and now I'm like, ooh, him and Wembanyama? Good luck, getting to the basket with those 2 guys. So frequency, athletic, offensive game will grow. It kind of makes you think about, do they have a year when he comes off the bench, bring him along slowly, try to use your player development bend to develop his offensive game a little bit better, and then probably try to move Keldon Johnson, who should have value in the open market if someone wants to trade him. But as long as it's not a guard, they addressed it already in the draft. Now they're going to their front court and giving themselves a little bit more depth.
So, Kev, Tom Carter Bryant out of Arizona at times this week, flirting around even money to be a top 10 pick. From the odds perspective, he doesn't go in the top 10, but does end out the lottery. What did the odds tell us about where Carter Bryant might fall tonight?
That the Spurs got a lot of value here at 14. This was a player who many were projecting to be a top 10 selection. Some thought that if the Suns were going to look towards the wing, you absolutely could see Carter Bryant be their man. And just to Coach's point quickly about the logjam at guard, I think both Jace Richardson and Kasparas Giacochonis are players I'm more interested in the draft. But Carter Bryant is absolutely the right pick over those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Due to what is on the San Antonio roster, Carter Bryant is a player, Tom, no Rookie of the Year juice, but I could see being a starter on this basketball team by next season.
Pure 3-and-D guy. We talked about this pre-show, that he is not going to be on flashy highlights, but when NBA GMs look at him and look at his frame, they're like, we would love to have this guy or a similar type. And when you have the offense around him, as coaches alluding to, he's just going to play his role. The offensive game will happen. It'll take some time. But if you play defense with the scoring around him, it makes them into a well-rounded team, and that's what you need. He's not going to be an exciting, like, oh, I want to bet props on this guy on a night-in and night-out basis. But he's a key component to a team that is looking to take a step forward.
Yeah, I think that is really well said. It also, by the way, it does end our lottery. So it kind of gives you an idea that we maybe are entering a different range of this draft. I'll just throw out someone like Johan Barringer, one of the international prospects I saw was getting a lot of buzz. Hey, is this kid going to crack into the lottery? That does not happen.
Sorber.
Giacochonis falls out. Sorber's draft position prop was 16.5, so still some life for those who bet it. But you do have a couple of players, Tom, that absolutely, through the odds, qualify as fallers.
It really, Demon, really shook things up. And that's interesting. So to see where the mid pick's coming up of Nick Clifford, he's going to be taken sometime soon.
In the next 10 picks?
Yeah, but not immediately. I'm saying him, Danny Wolf, and then, Barringer. These are the players we need to be keeping an eye on, and obviously your pre-draft positions are in flux right now.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they round out this top 20. But again, Ben, we are now buttoning up the lottery portion of the 25 NBA draft.
Yeah, Kev, I think what you mentioned there, a couple of names that have fallen out of the lottery that were certainly lottery consideration. Thomas Sorber from Georgetown and My guy, Kasparas Yakachonis from Illinois, early in his first season with the Illini, certainly thought of as a top 5, top 10 pick, now will be outside the lottery. So the first 14 picks of the 2025 NBA draft now in the books. Wait, who's picking 15th overall? What? The the team that just won 84 total games, including the first NBA championship in the history of their 17 years in Oklahoma City, that just celebrated a parade yesterday? You're telling me the Oklahoma City Thunder, the NBA champs, are picking 15th overall? Man, a bounty of riches for Sam Presti and the Thunder, JY. So what do you expect Oklahoma City to do here with the 15th pick?
They could really take a swing on someone. Got to remember also Nikola Topic there, who they got last year, missed the year, who was what I thought one of the 10 best players in the draft last year, didn't even play. So he's going to have his rookie year. So I almost add him to like their rookie draft class for this year. But Sam Presti, two first-round picks that Oklahoma City has.
24 tonight as well.
Yep. So you could take a swing, and for them, it's best available with the highest upside because their entire team returns. They're young. No one's getting moved. This is where Sam Presti is probably more dangerous than most because he may reach for a guy, but he really doesn't care because he's got the championship, he's got the young team, and he can take a chance on the kid now.
Kev, Tom, quickly back to you. What would you like to see OKC do in this spot?
Can we go in a time machine and trade up? It's just a team that realistically I think should have been willing to lose a deal to select somewhere inside that top 9, 8 range if possible. A team that Thomas Sorber comes to mind because Hartenstein will eventually be off this team.
I think that's the play to make. Like, the rich just get richer. And they, again, as coach's point, like, you can take a swing. And if you're wrong, again, not the worst deal. But I think Sorber does fit them. Hartenstein won't be there forever.
Yeah, that, again, just the financials of it. If they do draft Jace Richardson, Sam Presti, a little handshake, sir.
Plus 125, not a price on a prospect to go to OKC. The Thunder's number to win the West next year. More on SportsGrid Draft Special next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
You win a Larry O'Brien trophy on Sunday night for your franchise's first championship in your new home of Oklahoma City of 17 years. And then a few nights later, right after the draft lottery, you select 15th overall. The rich get richer and can add to a very talented team in Oklahoma City. The pick is in at 15th overall. Our reigning NBA champs and the short favorites to go back-to-back next season. The Thunder have selected out of Georgetown Thomas Sorber. You see the numbers on your screen. Averaged 14.5 points per game, 8.5 boards per game in this season under Ed Cooley with the Hoyas. And Kevin, Tom, I know Sorber was a prospect that you guys had identified early on that you were intrigued by where he might fall here in night number 1 of the NBA draft. How do you like Thomas Sorber's landing spot playing with the reigning NBA champs?
For me, and a player who does cash the under on his draft position, Tom, at 16.5.
Yeah, barely cashing it. And I think it's a great spot. The depth that he brings, you can never have enough depth, especially, but him playing a different role compared to what Chet plays, I think is going to be interesting. And how they eventually weave it in between him, Chet, and Hartenstein is going to be interesting. And I'm wondering how he gets involved in the non-Chet minutes. Are they going to look to feed him the ball? Are they just going to say, hey, we just want you out there? Like,
Yeah.
what will his role actually be?
What I would say with Oklahoma City, though, is last year a lottery selection in Nikola Topic didn't play due to injury. They didn't need him to play. Now, I don't think Sorber is projected to need to miss a year, but he didn't finish his season at Georgetown due to a foot injury. And with a big man, you would never want to rush him back. I'm not saying Sorber won't play this season. This is not a guy who's going to be heavily used, though, for OKC this year. We're halfway through round number 1, Tom. When we look back at the early portions of this draft, maybe that top 5, is there one pick you find yourself still thinking about?
It's got to be Ace Bailey. It really does, because I'm still convinced that the Jazz are going to trade Lauri Markkanen and or John Collins at some point. Maybe not this summer, maybe throughout the year. Obviously, Colin Sexton is still there, but the scoring upside from him is immense. The volume is immense. He doesn't seem thrilled to be there. We know that wasn't one of his preferred destinations.
You know, I saw a report, though, from sorry, Tom. I saw a report from someone who said he actually held a private workout.
Really?
With Utah.
Okay.
Now, that didn't come from a Shams level style,
fair.
but it also didn't come from, X-Beat Draft 1-2 either.
Also
So
fair.
I don't think Ace Bailey's putting a trade request in tomorrow.
Absolutely. But I'm saying is the theoretical upside from him, I'm not going to say he's unlimited, but when you look at a player that wants to take shots, there is a pathway forward to him taking 25 shots a night in his offense, because they are missing a true star player since they traded Donovan Mitchell. Like, Colin Sexton is good, Lauri Markkanen is good, but those are pieces other teams that are ready to take a step forward could use, and this can be his team.
The reality of the teams that were drafting before Utah have a foundational piece in their building.
Yes.
Whether it's Wembanyama, and they're not all the same level, right? LaMelo, Embiid, Anthony Davis. Utah does not have that.
Yeah.
Is Ace Bailey going to be that? Time will tell, but they have the ability to invest, and I'll make a comparison I think people will understand. Anthony Simons traded to Boston, and a lot of us are like, interesting. They don't have a lot of guys that we ask, what are they doing on defense? Is that a good shot? But maybe they'll get the best out of them. And Ace Bailey now plays for the G League Celtics, basically, with Will Hardy and Danny Ainge and Austin Ainge, because that's what they're trying to recreate over in Utah. So, Ben and Coach, I think for Ace Bailey, maybe if he doesn't feel this way, I feel he ended up in an incredible spot with the Jazz.
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation that you guys are alluding to, Kev, because it was reported by Jonathan Gavoni of ESPN that just a couple of days ago, Ace Bailey declined a workout in Salt Lake, and Danny Ainge said, yeah, you bet, brother, you're still making your way to this Jazz franchise. He was, of course, a minus 250 favorite to be a top 5 pick, JY. We just did not think to the Utah Jazz. We'll get plenty more of your thoughts on what we have seen so far in the opening half of the opening round on night number 1 of the 2025 NBA draft as we roll on. The lottery is done, but there is still plenty more to come throughout the final 15 picks. including 16th overall, where the Blazers traded with the Grizzlies, and Portland is now on the clock. Our third full hour of our SportsGrid draft special comes your way on the other side of the break. Plenty more from the NBA draft in Brooklyn next.